What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and thank you so much for jumping into another video. My name is Josh, and I am just your average Joe day trader. Today is Thursday, September 11th, 7:32 p.m. The market's just about shy of 30 minutes closing at the 8 p.m. mark for anything that doesn't run through the 24-hour market. And we are seeing what was actually an incredibly good green running market day today. So I wanted to give you a quick update on some of those things that ran today that we've been talking about, some things to keep your eyes on, and some things that I'm going to be looking at for tomorrow, Friday morning. First, before we get started, I wanted to share a little bit about BBAI. I wanted to give you a quick heads up update on BBAI. So BBAI put out two announcements. Number one, they are working on some new technology that will assist the defense sector. There's technology in AI and robotics and things that they're working on that they are releasing and working on directly with the Department of Defense. I hope you're hearing what I'm saying to you, because I know that a lot of you are seeing BBAI and less than $5 a share, feeling like to you maybe BBAI is sort of dead in the water. Well, I'm not going to disagree with the fact that the market is stale right now. It is sitting at a between $4 to $6 mark. That price per action is not really moving. It's not going anywhere. But what I want to share with you is that I believe personally that based on some of that news, their relationship to the Department of Defense and the military overall, with Pete Hegseth at the wheel, is going to continue to blossom and continue to grow once the money continues to get funneled in through these contracts that are coming. The other thing is, today on September 11th, BBI announced that they have released and are now working with an additional airport. They have moved into the Nashville International Airport with their enhanced passenger processing system. They call that the EPP. If you've been to any of the major airports and travel, you know that you can move through customs a lot quicker. You're going through and getting a biometric scan, and you're able to get through customs without a lot of the old school headache of stopping at a counter, speaking to an agent, checking passports, physically and all that. Well, that is BBAI technology. They are basically at the airports increasing the mobility and opportunity to get through the airports through customs a lot quicker. And so now if you travel through BNA, which is Nashville International Airport, you're going to have that opportunity to either see it, experience it, and see how much quicker you can move through. It's also much safer and secure because while they are implementing this technology at the BNA airport, it also is something that is a direct function of the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, or U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency, which is the CBP. So they are very excited about it because obviously it saves on time, it cuts down on the amount of lines, it cuts down the amount of time you have to spend in the airport, and it cuts down on the time that a customs and border agent would have to spend with each individual passenger or customer that comes through a line. So it's all a win-win. And Kevin McAleenan, the CEO, has nothing but rave reviews for the relationships, for the work they're doing together with a lot of these different agencies. And we're hearing the same sentiment back from the agencies that Big Bear AI and Kevin McAleenan and his group are rocketing the future ahead for some of this, technology and some of these processes. So you have to do your own homework and your own due diligence on BBAI. I am a long-term play shareholder. I day trade BBAI. It's been a little bit less volatile for me, slower moving, so I don't really day trade it right now, but it's in my long-term portfolio. I'm a stockholder, and I'm proud to be there, happy to be there, and to know that one day I'm going to look back and BBAI is going to be one of those companies I say, man, am I glad that I stayed patient, I stayed humble, I stayed strong in BBAI, because look where they are right now, and look at where my portfolio is right now. So keep that in mind for you, but very excited about BBAI. Now, we did have some news this morning that really did affect the stock market, and in a positive way, because pretty much many stocks that I love to trade did have a good potential run up today. Some ran down, some were a little challenging in their run, but most of them you could have made money as a retail day trader. I made money in several stocks today. I ran a few of them, but the stock market today, the Dow topped 46,000, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq both notched records as the consumer price index, the CPI report, and the jobs data cleared the way potentially for this Fed cut. And we believe that next week, while we know and we can see, including myself personally, starting to be a little bit cautious in some of my portfolios, my trades, hedging on certain things, selling off on things in profit, sort of preparing for leading up to next week's Fed rate cut decision. And we're going to see what Jerome Powell, my buddy, this one right here, we're going to see what happens when they make this decision next week based on all this data. But today, US stocks closed at record highs, basically with the latest reading on inflation showing that consumer prices ticked up in August and that jobless claims rose to their highest level in nearly 4 years. So together, the data helps to set expectations for the pace of the interest rate cut this year. And we're going to see what happens. The Dow Jones rose 1.4%, or over 600 points, and closed above 46,000 for the first time. The S&P 500 rose over 0.9%, and our tech-heavy NASDAQ composite gained around 0.7% for the fourth consecutive record close and first time closing above the 22,000 mark. So you have to understand that the stock market is doing very good, very well. And as I've been sharing with you through many of my videos, the month of September is usually a pitfall. It's usually one where we're holding on to the ropes. You got your parachute on and you're just going along for the ride and watching what happens. Well, today we sort of set this idea, this visual that we're not parachuting in September, we're hand gliding, right? We're just on the hand glider and we are coasting, and the stock market's doing really well right now. So listen, while we typically say that September is a month that we buy clearance prices, we get discounts on stocks, there's a lot of that out there that you can do that in preparation for when we come out of the second week of October or so, October into November into December. They're going to be stellar months. They're going to continue to run. And if this is any idea of what those months are going to look like in a positive sense, everything running strong right now, man, think about what it's going to look like when we do get to the point where the consumer confidence, the market confidence, the institutional buying, a lot of people are sitting sort of on the sidelines waiting to see how we get through September. So keep that in mind. Do your homework, your due diligence. I know I say that all the time. And make sure that you understand your risk tolerance levels, that you are being smart about your money, that you're setting what your tolerance is for those risks when you buy a stock or get into a stock for a longer term or for swing trading. Day trading, you have to naturally do that. You have to know what your support and resistance levels are every single day in order to be successful. If you wake up tomorrow morning and you jump into a stock because you think it looks good and you don't know where that top level is or bottom level, you're going to fail. That's gambling. That's not the way you day trade. That's not the way I day trade, and it's not the way I try to show you is the best way to day trade. You have to set support and resistance levels, set your ceiling, set your floor, even use the box strategy. If you don't know what that is, go look in some of my previous videos. I talk about my box strategy and how I use that. And I'll show you in one of my charts how I use my box strategy. So let's start with where I always love to start in the charts. Let's look at the S&P 500 itself, because that's where I live, is in and out of the S&P 500. I've actually been doing some homework, kind of understanding some of what is in the NASDAQ, because there are some stocks I like to play in the NASDAQ as well. But the S&P 500, look at this. I want you to see this. Today, we hit another all-time high, 658.33. I mean, this is kind of crazy because we're supposed to be in this crazy rundown that everybody panics about September, and we're hitting all-time highs, 658.33 in the S&P 500. It closed at 657.63, sits at 657.70 right now in the post market, which will end here in about 15, 16, 17 minutes. We'll be in the 24-hour market by then. But listen, it started this morning. We had a bit of a run up this morning in the pre-market. This is post, this is 24-hour, this is pre. Run up, which showed, potentially a nice opportunity for the S&P 500. And that's exactly what we got today. Literally from the opening bell, okay, at 9:30 this morning, you can see we had a little bit of pump. a little bit of a down, and then boom, 10 o'clock. And, a lot of people love to trade on the 10 a.m. rule. If you don't know what that is, let me know. Hit me a comment. I can talk about the 10 a.m. rule and what you should be doing in some of your trading. But just look at what it did. It launched at the 10 a.m. rule, basically from a low 653.86 all the way to 655.63, and it just kept going. Well, what does the S&P 500 do for me as a day trader? So you understand, if this is your first time here, well, many of the stocks that I trade in, Nvidia, Apple, Tesla, okay, APLD, BBAI, all these different tech type AI, robotics, serve robotics, SoundHound are pushed and run by the S&P 500. And if you didn't know, Robinhood, which is also a trading platform, this is my Webull account, Robinhood is now part of the S&P 500 and is doing great. And we're going to look at that in here as well. But listen, they pull back sometimes, they run up sometimes, but Robinhood as part of the S&P 500 is overall helping the S&P 500. Let's go straight into some of them I wanted to show you. So I'm just going to kind of pull up some individual stocks here so we can see their results. AMPX, Amprius, that I've been sharing with you. Tuesday, it was on a nice uptrend. Yesterday, with a lot of things on a downtrend. Today, look at this in the pre-market all the way through into the market open. We had a high today of $8.47. Pulled back down a little bit, ran horizontal, closed at 814, sitting at 820 right now. AMPX is still an amazing company, one that's, these are the lithium battery company. They're still doing a lot of great testing and coming up with great results, potentially to replace a lot of batteries. Now, I know I've had some subscribers share with me, and I totally get it. A lot of AMPX and what Amprius technology is about are the smaller batteries, cell phone type battery, chargers, power packs, things like that. Amprius is part of that. But they're also testing EV batteries, bigger batteries for vehicles, for different flying vehicles. Like if you look at Joby and Archer and some of their product, AMPX is an amazing company that's partnering with a lot of these companies and continuing to test these larger scale batteries that are used in EVs, like Tesla uses, Rivian, etc. And as a matter of fact, a lot of the car companies nowadays that have battery run vehicles. Okay, the other one I want to share with you is WULF. Let's look at the daily on Wolf, and you can see, that Wolf is way out of where all of my charting on this account. I have some friends that chart this every day and kind of give us the levels, so I haven't been adding new levels. But look at this, okay? On the daily, Wolf has been on an awesome tear up, and it continues up. And we believe, me and other traders that I communicate and talk to about different stocks, all believe that WULF, Wolf, has the potential to take another run to hit 12 bucks. So we're waiting to see if that's going to be certain. But if you're looking at the daily, there's no reason for this to turn around and start running red right now. It's on a nice green upward trend. So WULF, do some homework on it, but that's one I would tell you to take a look at. Okay, something else to share with you is that recently analysts just came out with a new report, and they have basically dropped their analyst rating and done analysis on Apple. So take that for what it's worth, but Apple has been downgraded and Nvidia has been upgraded. And I'm happy about that because I sold out all my Apple and I have bought a lot more Nvidia. So I'm happy that Nvidia is being upgraded and waiting to see once we get into October how Nvidia continues to pump. And remember, Nvidia has a huge stake ownership in APLD. So for me, it's very exciting, and we're waiting to see what Nvidia shows us. I'm going to give a little bit of credit where credit's due today, because a lot of you don't like when I talk about GameStop. But GameStop today kind of gave back a little bit of what they lost. They had earnings right here a couple days ago. They announced earnings, and it was a decent result. It went up about $2-3 per share. It ran up in the overnight to about $26. Let's see, the high here was $26.69. And we all thought, all right, GameStop, time to go. We woke up, let's move, let's go, let's hit it. And then it turned around literally in the next trading day, and it worked its way all the way back down. It stayed horizontal, it worked its way all the way back down. And that's why I say I just don't love GameStop. It's not one I would ever really day trade. You could say that there's days where GameStop moves, but it doesn't. It moves by the penny. Today, it did pretty nice. It was at a $23.71 low. It hit all the way up here to a high of $24.98, closed at $24.85. So listen, if you're a GameStop holder like I am, I've got GameStop. I own shares in my long-term portfolio because it can't be anywhere else. It has to be long-term because I'm literally praying and hoping that GameStop one day runs and we have this awesome experience with GameStop again. So we'll wait and see what happens with GameStop. Okay, let's go into actually, I want to share this with you also. CRML, critical metals, they did great today. If you look at this result, they literally, at the close in post-market, $5.64, opened up today at the 9:30 bell at 575, ran all the way up to a high of 640 today, came back down a little bit, but closed at 623, sitting at 621. Pretty good for CRML. Happy it's been pretty solid, pretty consistent. But what I'm most excited about CRML, if you haven't seen this yet, let's go to the daily chart. And what you're going to see here is that we continue to build this cup and handle. Okay, so the cup is formed. Here is the handle. All right, and ignore some of that noise. Look, it's continuing to consolidate right here. So this part was my handle. It's now consolidating a little bit in upward momentum. And I'm, don't think my drawing is the crystal ball. I don't know if it is or it isn't. But I think somewhere in here soon, it's going to rocket. It's going to launch because it's going to hit a point where now it just continues to go daily up in this, run up from the cup and handle. And I'm excited. So I'm watching, I'm waiting, being very patient in it. Do some homework and research on that one too. But I promise you, this is a clear expectation of a cup and handle. Throw it in, take a screenshot of this and put it in Chat GPT and ask Chat GPT, what does this look like? And it's going to come back and say, well, John or Mace or Max or Mark or Steve or Sally, Sue, Brenda, Barbara, okay, Dana, it's going to tell all of you this is a cup and handle formation and potentially a very positive opportunity. So take a look at it. All right, let's get into the August day trade stocks. Now, what I want to share with you about this specifically is that we are getting ready to change out some of the best day trade stocks, right? Through my analysis, my 30-day, 50-day, 200-day moving average, the analysis over the 30-day period, my looking at the range of 5 days at 30-minute intervals, just understanding its flow and its pattern. I'm looking to see what day trade stocks are the best ones to get in and out of safely with the lowest risk level to make money. Hopefully within the next week, I'll have a new list out to you, working on it right now. But let's start at the top with Tesla. You can see that Tesla on the 15-minute had a beautiful run up today to 370. Tesla was struggling yesterday, bouncing against this resistance level that I had set at 355. You can see it was completely dancing against it and then rejected back down. Well, post-market, 24-hour market, pre-market, and then it woke up this morning and it was like, we're done. We're tired of playing games on this resistance level. It broke right through that resistance level. And then it sort of was like, oh, wait a minute. I don't think we're supposed to be up here. It's kind of like Finding Nemo, where Nemo's not supposed to swim past a certain point in the ocean. Well, Tesla was up here past a certain point in the ocean, and then boom. It was like, I'm out of here. I'm chasing after that boat. And here we go. Sitting at 370 at close, 368.81 was the closing bell at 4 p.m. It's right now sitting at 369.97. So again, Tesla, nice run. NVIDIA, not so much. NVIDIA, which is fine. It did have a bit of a pump through the pre-market, came up a little bit, and then it ran down. Same thing with Palantir. They both sort of ran the same flow. AMD as well, all in that downward flow. So these definitely were not stocks you wanted to get into today, especially at a high price like this to day trade them. But if you're looking for some stocks to buy, maybe to increase your portfolio a little bit, some of these stocks are now at a nice opportunity at a lower price. Wait to see what Friday does. Wait to see what the Fed tax rate cut decision is, because some of these may continue to run down with that, as we know that these will run down with the S&P 500. Robinhood, nice story today. Robinhood had a nice opportunity this morning, 117.37 to this new high of 121.69. So a nice run this morning to make some money. If you're following your candlestick patterns, you would have known this is a totally engulfing candlestick and would have sold out and got out before it did the run down. but a nice result for Robinhood. Hims also beautiful result, almost all the way to the end of the day. Look at this, 52.49 from 48.25. Nice opportunity for Hims. Rocket Labs made me very happy today. I'm a long-term holder and a day trader on Rocket Labs. 45.89 to 49.67. Thank you, Rocket Labs, for helping me with my retirement. Ionic, IONQ, also a beautiful run all day long on it. SMCI was flat all day long, and then you had this monster pump. I've got to look to see. I don't think they had earnings. I don't really quite know what the news was on SMCI today. Let's see, at 529, Super Microcomputer shares gain with NVIDIA shipments underway. There you go. Well, see, we talk about NVIDIA and the power of NVIDIA. Look, SMCI computer shares gain with NVIDIA shipments underway. So there you go. That's why we ran. Good consumer sentiment. SMR, good opportunity to make some money today. If you started down here at the bottom and ran it up and stayed in it post-market, it's at 35.68 right now, 35.60 in the aftermarket. CNC, really, listen, CNC yesterday had an amazing run all day, pretty much from 21.98 to this point where market closed at 31.34. Stayed flat through the post, the 24-hour. Pre-market, it launched and it kept going all the way to 36.80, and then it sort of brought it back and retested a little bit through the market day, and that's fine. But it's still CNC, one to keep your eyes on and keep watching. Let me check my list. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything with you. Yes, I did. I want to talk to you all about SoundHound. SoundHound for me today was a winner chicken dinner. I got into SoundHound in basically around $14. I want to say it was about $13.95, somewhere around there. Right when it was on a downward trend, saw this, boom, posted, and went all the way up here to a high today of $14.89. I literally was waiting for it to hit $14.90 before I hit my sell button. But when it started to make this turn here, as the market came to a close, I realized time to get out because it was going to do this rundown. It's sitting at 14.57 right now, but I believe tomorrow SoundHound will do like APLD. It'll do a little bit of a drop down in the morning, and then it'll start to run back up. So just keep an eye on it. Make a decision on whether you like it as one of yours. And then my OG list, APLD, APLD. APLD has had a couple nice days of runs. Yesterday, full run, kept going. APLD today hit a new high of $17.88. That is a rolling 52-week new high, $17.88. Man, APLD. I'm happy to see it came back down a little bit. Hope you got out and took your profit. I did play this and got my profit out of it. It's at 17.18 close, 17.17 now. Let's see what tomorrow brings. But APLD continues to impress me. And as you'll notice from watching my other videos, you see that this white dotted line is my old ceiling over the last 5 days from last week into this week, 17.32. And we broke that at 17.88. So let's go ahead and together, and we're going to change this to my new high. My new ceiling is now 17.88 and done. Thank you for participating. Last, let me go ahead and show you the box strategy. I'm going to do it on SoundHound because this is the one that I'm going to be watching first thing, through the market tonight and first thing tomorrow morning. So very simple. What you do is you take the prior day, trading day, which would be today, right? Because I would be doing this later tonight on all of the stocks that I'm considering for the morning. And what you do is wherever you can in your account, Robinhood, Webull, however you do it, TradingView, you are going to draw a rectangle. You're going to find your lowest point, and I have mine in a magnet. So lock in, hold it. I'm going to pull it up, and I'm going to go to my highest point, and I'm going to lock it in and hit that there. So now I have my highest point for SoundHound today, $14.89. My lowest point, which is $13.92. And now what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to grab my box. Okay, I'm actually going to pull this over to make it a little easier. But I'm going to grab my box, and I'm going to pull it across through the next trading day into the next day post-market. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to grab a trend line, horizontal line, and I'm going to put it on my line here. And I'm going to change it to blue because this is going to be my blue sky. And I'm going to lock this in. And then I'm going to go down here. I'm going to close that off. I'm going to grab another line, and I'm going to go to the bottom at that $13.92 or whatever that price was, $13.92. And I'm going to keep that one red, and I'm going to lock that one in place. And then I'm going to figure out in here what's my median between $13.92 and 1490. We're going to say it's 1490, right? I think it was 1488, 1489. So we're gonna keep that there. So 1390 to 1490 is a dollar. So we know it's 50 cents. So we're gonna say 51 cents is a mark. So we're gonna come down here by 50 cents. And so 1440, let's say 1441. So we're gonna grab another line and we're gonna add another line and we're gonna go in here and we're gonna make that, did I do that right? 1441? 1441, dead on the money. Look at that, pick the middle. But I'm gonna make this one my yellow, because I want this to be easily visible to me tomorrow, and I'm going to lock it in place. And now I know for me, for SoundHound, that as long as I live within this channel, that I'm good to go. Now, where it is right now, it's above the median. It's above this now support level. If it comes down through the overnight trading and it breaks through the support level, well, now my hope is it doesn't break through this support level, okay? My goal is that it comes down and dances on my support level and heads back to the resistance level. So I want to break through this resistance level tomorrow to continue this upward momentum. And this is it. That's the box strategy. There's nothing else to it. It's a simple strategy. And if you pair this with other things, right, with the MACD, see when your MACD crosses a signal, see when that moving average crosses a signal. See, you can use the RSI, right? You can use different factors with the box strategy, but I am waiting to see what does it do through the pre-market in the morning, that 24-hour market to the morning bell based on this box strategy. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Anyway, this video is a lot longer than I wanted the video to be, so thank you if you stayed all the way through it. If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. Thank you so much for being here, and can't wait to see what the market does through the night to the 4:30 hour in the morning to the 9:30 bell. Let's get rich together. Josh out. Peace.